What is up, YouTube? So today we're gonna look at bass lines for your UK garage tracks. And I'm not doing the regular Reese bass, I'm actually doing a more pluggy bass, a rhythmic bass from the plugin called Monark by Native Instruments. So let's just jump straight into it. This is the Monark Synth, and I believe it's an emulation of the old Minimoog synthesizer. So let's jump straight into the bass line. So let's just listen to the bass line on its own. So it sounds like this. So a really groovy bass line, if you ask me. This is the MIDI. So what you can see here is that it's really rhythmic. So a lot of notes, but it's also really short notes. What I wanted to do with this UK garage style beat, I'll just play the drums and the bass line. And that's because my CPU is really struggling right now while I'm screen recording. But I think I'm just gonna, you can listen to the whole beat at the end of the video, and I'm just gonna play like an exported audio file so you can listen to the beat with a higher quality. So this is the bass line and the kick drum. So if you ask me, it really gives a lot of cool, groovy UK garage vibes. And it doesn't have to be that, like the Reese bass that a lot of people use when they make UK garage. I wanted to do something else a little bit more rhythmic, so that's why I actually pulled out the Monarch by Native Instruments. If we go through the synth, I have like 3 oscillators. And they're actually all playing the triangle wave, but at different octaves. So up here, oscillator 1, it's playing at a higher octave. Then you have oscillator 2 that's playing like a lower octave, mainly for the bass, like the subby bass sound. And then we have like a middle kind of oscillator. And I'm just playing around with the volume. These 2s are cranked up all the way. And then like the higher one is just cranked up a little bit, just to add some upper harmonics. And then we have this load control knob, and I really like it because it kind of like it sends the signal through the synth, so it kind of distorts a little bit. So let's just listen to it. And it's a great way to add some grit to your bass lines. And what you might notice is that it's high cutted, so you don't hear the higher harmonics and the higher frequencies of the bass, and that's because on the mixer track I actually cut away with an EQ, and I'm gonna go through the effects channel later in this video. So if we go through the synth presets, I have like the filter here. And you can see the filter envelope. It's a really like, it's a short decay, and that's because I want the pluggy kind of sound. And the reason why I want the pluggy sound is that I have a lot of drum and percussive elements in this track to add some groove, and not to having the bass clash with a lot of stuff. And you also have a kick drum that's playing not just on the 4/4. So you really have to make room for stuff to, in my opinion, to have like a really cool groove, and also along with the other melodic elements, the chord stabs and the small like synthesizer arpeggiated things. So what I did is that I just pulled down the decay, and I'm just gonna crank up the decay of the amp so you can hear like what it actually does. So as you might notice is that when we crank up the decay, you'd start to lose like the rhythmic elements of all of these different notes. So that's the reason why I keep it a little bit more pluggy and a little bit more like short decay. So yeah, but then again, play around with where you think like the style and the vibe fits your tracks. This is just my approach, so just play around. So this is actually like the sound. Let's just play it again with the drums. So let's just go through the effects of the mixer track. So if you have watched any of my videos before, you can see that I like to route my bass and my kick drum to like a low-end mix bus. And it's just mainly to control the EQing of, and here I actually didn't do anything, but I just like to have it like on a mix bus, because then I can better control the elements with volume and stuff. So going through the Monark, I just have like a subtle sidechaining element, just to keep it a little bit pumping. And then this is actually the most important thing, to add some sidechaining. This is just like a gaining knob. And if we look at, we have this automation clip here, and it's controlling the gain knob on this, this pan-o-matic knob here. And what it does is that you can see like it's docking at specific points here, and they are actually where the kick drum is hitting. And that's because I don't want the bass line, because it's a little bit, it's more pluggy, so it has some kind of transient to it, and I don't want it to clash with the kick. And also you have the subby frequencies, so this is just a great way to really control the sidechaining of your bass with the kick. And I know you can do it with like the classic approach by sidechaining with a compressor, but I tried that before, and because of like some latency and delay in my setup, I didn't get the sound that I needed. It started to click a little bit, so I would rather spend a little bit more time and do the manual volume shaping with an automation clip, so I can better control it. So let's just listen to it. I'm just gonna solo the kick and the bass with this automation. And if we pull away the automation, you will start to hear that some things are clashing. It can be hard to hear if you're not on like either headphones or good speakers, but it definitely does something, and it also adds up to the master output. So that's actually, I think that's actually it for the Monark. Then I have like, again, the EQ, just to remove the highs. And the reason why I removed a lot of the highs in this bass line is because that it didn't really add anything up in those frequency area. So and because like my UK garage track has a lot of percussion and drum elements, I would rather have those playing and occupying the higher spectrum of the frequency range, just to add some room and some space. So I just removed all of the high-end information in the bass until I like start to hear that it's lacking some punch. And I'm just starting here, playing the track, and just, we can actually try to do it. Like now it's a little bit too much. So for me, this is the sweet spot, but it could be different for you. But again, use your ears and try to listen, and don't just do what everybody else is doing. Like try to push the limit of what sounds great. I just use this philosophy of like making space for elements. So having like the main elements play, as you know, like for me, it's the kick, it's the clap and snare, it's the bass, and then some melodic elements. I want those to have like the space that they need to like really punch through the mix. And then I'm starting to remove stuff that's not needed to actually hear the sound that I'm looking for. So the bass is just sitting really nicely down here together with the kick, and then the percussion elements have enough room to breathe. Really cool. And then the last thing is just a limiter. just to control some of the transients of the notes that might be a little bit quieter than others. So it's just to control a little bit. That's actually it for the bass line. Okay guys, that was it for this video. I hope you liked this small UK garage beat that I did with the bass line from Monark. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe to the channel so we can make it grow. Again, I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.